Hey guys, Gemma from ASD Rocks. I was having a conversation the other day with one of our awesome ASD Rockstar family. You know who you are. We were actually talking about regressions, and I was remembering back. We were talking about sort of triggers and different things that cause regressions, and I said, when Bo got unwell or sick or was just, if he got a cold, he would generally regress. But also when he was learning a new skill, he would often just completely shut down. And I remember how terrifying it was. I remember, the first couple of times, because, if he was learning, a new phrase or a new word or a new, a new skill like jumping or taking turns, it's hard to define exactly what the skill is that he was learning. But what he would do is he would regress. So, just when you got somewhere, all of a sudden, they would just go inwards, and the verbal the verbal would go down, the verbal capacity would go down, everything would go back, and my point is that I will never forget the first time or the first couple of times that it happened. It was probably the scariest thing I think that we ever went through. Was it was like one day he was there, he was never there in the beginning, but he was there, and then all of a sudden, bang, bubble boy again. And I remember thinking, is that it? Will he ever come back? And then after however long it would be, boom, he would come back and he'd have that new skill down. It was almost like he had to go into himself to process the information, whether it was reading, talking, toileting, walking, anything, any new skill, he would go into himself. Oh my God, look how beautiful that is, guys. Look how beautiful. Did you see all the blue flowers?
I liked it.
That was gorgeous for a sewer system. So yeah, it was truly terrifying. And we were talking about how it feels like, you take 3 steps forward and then it's like 4 steps back, and then it's 3 steps forward again, and then it's 4 steps back, but you're still making that 1 step forward. You know what I mean? So you've got to remember these triggers, these regressions, and it still happens with Bo under very stressful circumstances, or if he's not well, if he gets sick, if he gets a tummy bug or anything happens like that, he does tend to regress into himself. Oh my gosh, I remember when we had full regression, at the very, very, very start of that way. At the very, very start of homeschooling. That's it. It was the really beginning of homeschooling, and I hadn't set it up properly yet, and I was sort of really very fluid about everything. And I hadn't set up a rigid routine for him, and he didn't cope, and we lost skills like him being able to feed himself. I mean, you can go back to it. I think it's called Code Black. There's a video of it, and I'm just like, my eyeballs are popping out of my head, and I call it Code Black. And it was so distressing for Bo, and it was so distressing for me. And I think the point is that, you don't give up. You keep going, and you hope that things will work out the way they're meant to work out. And they do. They generally do. Honestly, they really generally do. So regression is a part of the process and the learning of autism. the question is, can we as parents, this is starting to slip and slide, it might be easier if I even held it, can we as parents, can we minimize these triggers, these impacts that are having, you know, such an impact on our kids, so that they're not experiencing these triggers that are causing them to regress? Now, the answer is both yes and no, as it always is. If you're tuned into your kid, if you're really tuned into your kid, you know their signs, you know their sounds, their trigger sounds. Bo used to make this tiny, like, people used to laugh, like other kids used to have these massive temper tantrums. Not that they ever really saw Bo have one of his full-on meltdowns, but Bo would make this tiny little sort of noise, and I knew that noise meant something was going to trigger him. So I immediately removed him from the stimuli that was going to cause that meltdown. And we can do the same with our kids if we know what's going to cause, you know, we can preempt a lot of these things. However, when it comes to processing, when it comes to illness, there's nothing you can do. You have to be incredibly patient with them and just know that they're processing and they're going to make it through, and they will come through it. But yeah, regressions, big deal, very stressful on the parent, and most likely pretty stressful on the kid as well. So ASD rocks, guys. We don't give up.